by race rates in suburban and rural areas and among older drivers. But he says 4 out of 5 because motorists could have to pay.
Good work, boys! Oh my God!
This film's a fucking roller coaster.
It really is.
This film is a roller coaster, and this is, I mean, one hell of a transition from a simple 3-part discussion of our top 5.
Yeah.
We've now transitioned into. Oh, welcome to episode 8, everyone. By the way.
Yes. Hello. By the way.
Episode 8 of the Dreadcast. We've now transitioned from, I guess, going from mainstream franchises to mainstream films to a new mainstream sequel to us discussing a nice long lengthy discussion, probably about 5 hours when you add it up, about our top 5s.
Yeah. It was,
to now 80s B movie exploitation.
It's such a B movie. It's such a B movie.
And our first holiday themed film, which we kind of could have done one early on. We had Valentine's Day. We could have either done Valentine, the really bad slasher film from the 2000s, or My Bloody Valentine. But we can save that for next time.
I can't wait till we do My Bloody Valentine. I almost said the song. There's a song by a band called Ice Nine Kills that covered the film. Oh, it's just so good.
I hope you're talking about the original.
Yes, yeah. All the songs that the band does are based on the original movies, not the remakes.
Not the 3D remake.
Oh no,
that was bad.
That was terrible. Yeah, this movie is definitely a B movie because it's hard to describe this. I mean, I will nitpick some things with this film because when you watch it, after you've watched it, and then you think about it, you're like, a lot of this stuff in this film is kind of misleading.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, and
I mean, you said it's a holiday themed film.
It's not.
Really not.
It's
not
at all.
And I got slightly annoyed by this.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Mother's Day, and I'm like, it's nothing to do with it.
Oh yeah. By the way, everyone. So the holiday film, quotation marks, as we just said, holiday film in question. We are discussing his Mother's Day, 1980.
Yes, 1980.
And to begin with, I didn't realise that this was a trauma film.
Oh,
and
is it?
It makes so much more sense when, obviously it said it right at the beginning, but it makes so much more sense by seeing how it's filmed and seeing, it's in the opening credits, seeing how it's filmed and seeing just the script, just everything, the script, the effects, everything. It gives me proper Toxic Avenger vibes, which is the ultimate trauma film, and with a class of Manukum High. But it's peak,
that's a great. That's great.
It's peak
the poster for
trauma
that is
film.
amazing.
Yeah,
See, now it makes more sense because I mean the way that when we were initially discussing this, I think just before you'd seen it, was I sat there after I watched it. It's like I've pretty much just watched Deliverance. It's as if the trauma looked at Deliverance and went, I want to make that film, but I have no budget. So make me a film that's like Deliverance with no money. And that's pretty much the best way I can describe this film.
With a nice sprinkling of I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah, it's a B movie Deliverance with the budget of Evil Dead with some I Spit on Your Grave stuff.
What a concoction.
There you go.
What a recipe for a film.
And some slight slapstick. There is a bit of slapstick comedy in this, if you think about the two brothers. So,
and as we stated, it has nothing to do with the holiday that is Mother's Day anyway. I mean, holiday is a very loose term for what it is.
When was it released? Was it released on Mother's? If it was released on Mother's Day, I'll let it slide. But I don't think it was.
That's the thing. Mother's Day is different in America compared to.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess UK or / Europe. It's normally always a different day because of the fact it falls on a Sunday. Whereas Christmas is the 25th of, Christmas is the 25th of December. That can fall on any day. Mother's Day is always a Sunday, but it can differ. Same as Easter. Easter doesn't have a set date.
Yeah, that's true. They haven't actually made any films in quite a while, actually.
Troma.
Troma.
I
no,
think
maybe that's
Troma.
just-
I think 80s. I think pure
Yeah.
B movie exploitation 80s.
Oh my! I'm
Obviously,
just looking at the titles that they've done. I
they're
can't wait to
incredible.
see some of these. Some of these are the. I mean, the Class of Nukem High. They did all of those. That's good.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did Cannibal the Musical, which was
Yeah.
obviously the directorial debut of Trey Parker
Mm-hmm.
from South Park. That's incredible. They did a Father's Day one. I don't
yes,
know if that might
I
be
just
interesting.
noticed that. It was
That's
meant to
coming
be
up in June.
It's meant. Yeah, well, there we go. We know what we're doing
There
in
you go.
June.
Yep. Serve Nazis Must Die. There's Killer Condom. I can't wait to watch that. That sounds amazing.
Save that for Valentine's Day.
Oh, Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. We have to see that. We have to see so many of these.
See these remember what we talked last time about those shitty dirge
Yeah.
and the dirge that's in Amazon. This stuff sounds way more interesting than the dirge you
we
get in
just do
Amazon.
like a trauma section where we just find the word. I mean, I think we
Trauma
should do
month.
Class of Nukem High and the Toxic Avenger. We should do those
Oh,
definitely.
most definitely Toxic
But-
Avenger, yeah.
I mean, Poultrygeist, No, the Chicken Dead. That sounds
Oh,
amazing.
gee, guys.
Rabid Grannies. I mean, Oh man, this sounds amazing. I can't wait to see after these.
As far as us discussing Mother's Day, like how we discussed Scream, we kind of went back and forth. Say like we discussed the
Yeah.
characters. I think with Mother's Day, because I took so many notes down.
Yeah.
Let's just go through the film and analyze
Yeah.
everything. Like,
Yeah,
I-
it's
we
not
got-
a lot. I
'cause-
mean, it's only an hour and a half, but to be
Yeah.
fair, it doesn't feel like an hour and a half. It felt, for me, this film went very quickly. I think it's
agree.
just because
It
I
really
was
did.
in. I just don't. I think it's because I didn't know what I was watching half the time.
I really felt it went quick as well.
Yeah, I watched it. When did I? I watched it a few days before you did. I think I watched it. No, I can't remember when I watched it. But I just literally sent you a message straight afterwards, going, "So Mother's Day, yeah, what a
This
film that is."
wild. Yeah,
And even I got that from you yesterday. It was like, "So Mother's Day, yeah."
that's a film.
Yep, that's all we need to know.
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah.
and for the gentle viewers out there, I actually just found it on YouTube. Someone had
Yeah, you did
uploaded
actually.
it, and for some reason, it's still there, the full film. So if you want to watch it, get on YouTube and check out Mother's
Yep.
Day, and then see
sure you
if
won't
our
be
review, see if our review holds up.
The thing is, it's not a bad film. I mean, it's a B movie film, so it's not going to be groundbreaking.
No.
But it's got a lot of problems. I mean, well, not problems, just like things you'd be like, oh, that's a bit naff.
It's a very simple film.
Oh yeah, it's very simple.
Oh,
In
very
some
simple.
like there are some bits where I was kind of watching it going, okay, don't really get what I'm watching here, but it will just let it go. It's clearly the mind of whoever made it was like, oh yeah, that it. You can tell there were some bits in it where they were like, what they wrote down on the page when they filmed it, and then they filmed like a scene. There's a scene in particular they filmed it a little bit later. You can kind of tell that they didn't really check the script because you're like, well, if that was that you couldn't you've just gone that way instead
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
have all this thing.
That
But,
goes
I mean-
along with the editing as well. Some of the editing, which
Yeah.
I'll bring up, and I don't know. I feel like if you picked it up, it's very early on. There's a bad edit.
I
but
don't
picked
think
it
I
up.
did.
I'll pick it up.
I
You
probably
can check
did.
it out.
No. Okay, it'll be interesting to see that. I think the first nitpick that I had before we start is actually the poster. Now,
Yes,
yes, the poster for it is. I mean, the poster, as far as posters goes, is quite
It's
clever.
it's a nice poster.
It's quite simple. But it's very misleading because you get obviously you've got the two brothers. I can't remember their names. I'm terrible with names.
They are
in the
Ike
background.
and Hadley.
That was it. And of course, you've got their mother. Now, apparently, the lady who played the mother, she turned down a massive paycheck because they were like, "I'm sorry, we can't pay you what you're worth." And she went, "I just want to be in it." So she turned down a lot of the money just to say, "Just let me be this mother."
God bless her.
But exactly, the issue I had with the poster is the fact that half of the mother's face is a skull.
Yeah,
So when I saw it, I'm like, okay, and it's obviously there's a tagline. I'm so proud of my boys; they never forget their mama. I'm like, okay, so clearly the mum's dead. The
yeah.
mum
I got
must be dead.
massive Norman Bates vibes from this.
Yeah.
The fact that maybe obviously these two boys are your crazy
Yeah, crazy
Hicks.
southern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're Norman Bates in their mum, pretending that she's still alive and like imagining what she's telling them.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
It's not really a spoiler. The mum's not dead. That's apparent very early on. She's not dead.
If you're upset with spoilers, this whole review is not for you.
No, because we're going through the film.
Yeah.
So that was literally my first nitpick. I'm like, okay, that's a mislead. I mean, to be fair, it's a cool looking poster.
It's a great poster.
Initially, I'm like, we're not off to a great start here, are we?
I assume you're looking at the Wikipedia article with it on
IMDb.
Oh, because the Wikipedia one is a black and white poster, and it's a little bit different to the color poster. Yeah, the color poster is much nicer, but the black and white one is very similar, but it's just it's not as good.
Oh yeah, no, I think for me, the color one is better.
Yeah,
just because it has that 1980s like the way the two brothers are dressed kind of reminds me of that film's gone out of my mind. What's that film? Oh, The Warriors. They're dressed very much like the Warriors were.
Yeah,
which is a cracking film as well. But yeah, I don't think the black and white one is that.
It's not as good.
Good. No, I've noticed she looks a bit like you remember the Mr. Bean film where he goes to America?
Yeah.
She looks a bit like Whistler's mother, the painting. I've just noticed that.
Yeah, she does like Whistler's mother. Yeah. That's a very different movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we won't be covering that unless he does a horror film.
So, Mother's Day. Now, as I showed you, I have a lot of notes on my phone. As I was watching it, I was just picking down
pause,
moments.
Take note, play. Pause, take note. Pause.
Yeah. So we start off the film in what seems to be like an AA meeting.
Yeah. Oh well. Before we do that, I'll just jump in quickly. What did you? I must admit, what I really thought was quite clever was. No, wait. Did the credits come after the AA meeting or before?
I want to say before because that's where I spotted the Trauma logo.
Yeah, I think it was before. Either way, if it was before or after, doesn't matter. As far as like intro credit things go, I thought this was really clever. I really like this one because you get to hear. You hear a couple of girls that are talking about their days in college, and they're showing pictures on the wall, and you get the people who made it. And I was like, that's quite clever. It's like, oh, this picture was these people that made it, and I was like, oh, I like that. That's a clever idea.
That was after. Now you're saying that was after. That was after. It's the AA meeting and the incident that happens in the car, which we'll get to.
I jumped ahead slightly.
That was like your intro to okay, this is what it's about. Then we go to the protagonist and stuff. Yes. That was the intro. Yes, that was a great intro with the photographs.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to intro. Well, I mean, to be fair, you don't really get many intro credits. But for some reason, that one I was like, I like this. I quite like this. Yeah, I'll let you continue now.
I'm glad you put that up because I didn't note that down.
So I kept it in my brain notes. There we go.
So the film opens up as like an AA meeting. Alcoholics Anonymous, drug use, a rehab meeting, or whatever. It's quite vague. And there's a couple in this meeting, and they manage to pinch a ride off this little old innocent lady who's in the meeting back to their home, and she starts to drive them back. But she's very sweet and innocent. This little old lady. She's got a little neck brace on. She wouldn't hurt a fly. But her boys might. So she's driving this couple home from AA, but then they're not going the way they're planned to go. And they're going off road. They're going through these country roads, and they're a bit like, what's going on? But this couple, the guy, the man of the couple in the back seat brings out what looks like a garrote wire.
Yeah, something.
It looks like they're about to carjack this old lady.
Oh yeah, in the violent fashion.
Doesn't quite go to plan.
I've just noticed though, it was interesting that they were going to garrote her because it's like you said, she's wearing a neck brace.
Yes,
so at the
same time, as well.
Yeah, you're like she's got padding around her neck. It's not going to do much. Yeah,
you're going to have to really get a really specific point above that neck brace or below it. It's like, oh, shit.
You're trying to choke us. Like, sorry, Granny, I just got to take this neck brace off. Just hold still while I undo this. There we go.
Yeah, can you just how do I do this again?
I'll just lift your hair up the way. There you go.
So I believe she escapes the car, the granny, and the
No,
female
she
takes.
gets out the car because she says the car stopped working.
Oh, that was it. Sorry, that was it.
Yeah.
What a good review so far. She gets out the car.
Exactly.
The female of the couple gets into the driver's seat.
Yeah.
The male gets into the passenger seat. They're about to take off. When all of a sudden, we see a body run up behind the car
Well,
with a machete.
before that,
Oh
this
no,
is
am I
one of
getting it
those-
wrong?
This is one. No, that's almost right. I don't know if it happens beforehand, but it's when, because it's very misleading. Because we think that the couple are gonna obviously kill the lady,
Yeah.
but it's when she turns the radio on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks." He just sits back casually. And I'm like, "Wait, was that misleading? Wait, hang on. Are you not actually killers?" And that's what I really liked about this. I mean, it's not a great film, but I was like, "Oh, okay. So you're not gonna hurt her? Were you just really stressed that she had some shit radio on?"
They were just getting prepared, just in case shit went down and we have to garrote someone.
She doesn't turn this radio off. Oh.
Oh, she's gonna get it. She's gonna get it. Now, that was it. Now, am I getting it right? It was after the radio. This figure
Yeah,
runs up.
someone runs around.
Runs around. Just instantly decapitates the guy in the front.
It's so good.
Now, this is the bit where I mentioned earlier about the editing.
Is it the mannequin?
Nah, oh, well, it's a brilliant mannequin.
Oh, it really is.
This is probably the goriest moment in
would
the
say
film
it is,
up until the end. Up until the end, where there's a gory death. One
I
of the
can't remember what
brothers.
death it is.
We'll get
Oh,
to-
yes.
yeah. But this is throughout the whole film. Between
There's-
the film is bookended by this bit of gore at the beginning and a bit of gore at the end. Throughout the film,
Oh, yeah.
there's not much else really.
No,
Now
there isn't.
the editing issue was the camera pans to the girl in the driver's seat, blood splatters on her, then the camera quickly pans back to the guy, and then he gets decapitated. And then it pans back to the girl, and then the blood splatters on her.
No.
So the blood had splattered on her before he had even been decapitated.
Oh, so they'd filmed the two different scenes and they'd stuck
Yeah.
the wrong bit in probably. Oh,
Yeah, they goofed.
they
Yeah.
goobered that up a bit. Oh,
So
dear.
he's gone. The mannequin is no more. I can't remember how she dies. I forgot to note that down.
Well, I believe she gets. It's not revealed how she dies.
Oh
I
God, I
think
do
it's-
remember now. You're right.
Yeah, it's implied that she dies somehow, quite horrifically, probably.
Yeah, she's taken out the car by another figure. So there's two male figures, and
Yeah,
she's
so
assaulted.
she's dragged out. I think she's assaulted on the roof of the car for some weird
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
And then she crawls off she either crawls off or falls off the car. I can't remember which one it is. And she crawls to the mum. That's it. And she asks her to be let free. And the mum's like, no.
Yeah.
That's when you realize, oh my god, this mum is not a sweet old granny who's going to bake you apple pie. She's just as ruthless as her sons, probably even more.
And the thing is, this is in the first five minutes, maybe.
Yeah, it's very
And
quick.
Within these first 5 minutes, we have already seen our antagonists and the killers. We know who they are. It's not built up with jump scares and who's that behind the bushes. It's like, boom, these people are evil. This is what our protagonist is going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
And then we cut to your the credit scene you mentioned.
Yes, that's it. It's very cool. Thing is, I was trying to place actually when this film is supposedly shot in, because obviously it was made in 1980, but there are a lot of it is you can tell it's still like the remnants of the 70s are going on. Because I thought that first initial meeting at what did they say it was? Oh, a growth opportunity graduation, which is ironically a parody of something called an Erhard seminars training that transforms you apparently to live. Oh, I thought that was just like a hippie meeting. They were like, we're just going to go down, tell you how to love each other. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it has elements of like 70s, like hippie, or the remnants of the hippie era, which I think kind of were dying out at that point in time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's from the 1980s, but it feels like a 70s film.
Yeah, it feels like they filmed it potentially a few years earlier, but not released it until like the 1980. But yeah, then it brings us to the credits. You get the cool like them reminiscing about college. It's like, oh yeah, do you remember that boy we dated in college? Blah blah blah, which is great. And then see, this is, I must admit, now I found that the bit between the initial two victims being killed,
Yeah.
kind of to where our new main three run into the brothers.
Yeah.
I found that this whole bit was kind of is very much filler.
I agree.
A lot of it,
I agree.
I was watching it going, I don't really care. It's like, okay, because obviously sometimes you have to introduce your characters, which is given. But I felt they did it way too much.
Yeah.
And they were, I think you got the new three girls. We have Trini, Abby, and Jackie. And two of them get, I think one of them now lives in Hollywood. She's a big Hollywood star, something like that. Another one is a waitress, and she's looking after her, I think her elderly mother, who, by the sound of it, is driving her up the wall. Which I did like the little reference to, which little callback, which happens later on in the film. I did like that. And the two of them are sent this letter saying, oh yeah, prepare for the annual mystery weekend trip.
Yeah, the mystery trip.
Which, obviously, after college, they keep meeting up every weekend. Once a year. Apparently, this is the only time they meet up.
Yeah.
And they go to a getaway, unknown to two of them, and then one of them drags them out somewhere. So Jackie is the one whose trip it is this time. And she's planned this camping trip for them in somewhere called the Deep Barrens in rural New Jersey, which
one thing.
Oh, yep.
So I just want to talk about how we meet Jackie. Like Jackie's the first of the three that we meet on screen.
Oh, is she?
She is. She's the one that she
yes.
she enters her apartment building through a foyer.
Oh,
into
yeah,
apartment
where
building,
the boyfriend is. Oh.
With her boyfriend's living there. The thing, this always bothers me in films and horror films. So she gets into her apartment, and then suddenly, a guy just grabs her around the head.
Oh yeah,
like around her mouth, so she can't scream, and then around her body. She's like, for a few seconds, terrified, petrified. Turns around, it's like, oh, you. That is. I can't imagine a scenario of doing that to anyone you know, whether it be your partner or a friend, and then finding that amusing.
Yeah,
I've never understood that.
Unless her character's got some major rape kinks.
Yeah,
I was watching that too, and I was like, I don't know why I'm watching this. I'm like, this is very weird.
I've never understood that premise in films.
It's quite uncomfortable. I was like, okay, is this one of the brothers? Is this another brother? Who is this? No, it's a very weird scene. And again, that's kind of one of the things that I picked up on. Like, there are certain bits in this film where you're like, I don't think when they read back the script after it was written, did they go, that makes no sense whatsoever. It's like, we should probably check that. I think they just wrote the script and went, okay, it's done. Just go make the film.
Yeah.
We've got to get it out. And to be fair, their budget was $115,000, so they probably did say, get out and make this a film as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and I mean, as weird as this whole grabbing her and it being fine idea in the film was, this guy is a non-factor in this film. He's
the deadbeat boyfriend that you never see again.
Never see him again. There's no point to him. Now, one other thing I noticed, as she's leaving her apartment to go on this mystery tour, she goes down to the foyer. Now, the foyer of this apartment building is like glass-walled, so you can see outside.
Oh,
so
yeah.
As she's walking out the door, for no reason on the glass wall outside, there's just a couple leaning up against the glass wall, just making out, like going to town on each other.
I didn't see that.
I just noticed it. Like, what? You have extras. Obviously, you have extras walking maybe in and out of the apartment building, walking down the side. No, these extras were like, right, you guys are the extras that are going to be making out there.
Do you reckon they were actually extras, or they were just a couple that had a snog? And the filmmakers were like, oh, I don't really want to disturb them. They're clearly enjoying themselves. Just keep filming. It's fine.
They were on location. We're like, just keep rolling.
Yeah.
This is great. Just keep rolling. Zoom in on the R. Just keep going.
Just keep going. It's like, you do know the actress has gone that way. This is just B movie. This is just B-roll shots. We're going to keep this in somewhere.
I had a big note on that. I've just crossed that off. That was one of my notes. I saw this couple there.
I didn't notice that. How did I not notice that? I mean, I was probably still processing the weird non-rape scene that we just had.
I also noticed again before she picks the friends up, they portray New York as crazy as hell and weird because back then New York was not a pleasant place. New York City, and especially like Times Square. Not that they focus on Times Square, but New York City was, like you said, like
rough.
the Warriors, and well, back then New York was a rough place, and they portray that very well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just in like a minute shot, it's for the crazy people. Just for the crazy people everywhere.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what was it? I can't remember. I think it's. It is Jackie as well, because Jackie has the interaction with the doorman, doesn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is again, it's just
really
one of those
bizarre.
odd things. She comes in, he's like, "Oh, hi," and he's just like, he just looks up and goes, like your part of your job is you have to be friendly and interactive. You're like the first thing customers meet. And even as she leaves, it's like, bye, and he's like, like, oh my god, this doorman clearly hates his job.
Oh, he really hated his job.
Yeah, he really did.
So, yeah, there was just those few things that I just wanted to fill in before we got to the bit of them on their way to the woods. Just a few things I picked out. One thing as well I did think, and I kind of assumed, but I shouldn't have. When she's picked the friends up, Trina and Abby.
Oh yeah.
They start driving off, and it's like a montage of them driving, isn't it? Like driving down, and it's filled with ADR, like recordings. It's filled with
really
voiceover recordings, and it's really obvious of this completely pointless conversations that mean nothing.
Oh yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Oh, it's all filler. I reckon they filmed a lot of I reckon they filmed that post filming, and they were like, "Oh my god, this film's only an hour long. Pad it out with stuff." And a lot of it probably came from that. It's weird because obviously they're like, "Oh, it's a mystery like location. You're not supposed to know where we're going." And Jackie, to her two friends, is like, "Oh yeah, put these bags on your head so you don't know where we're going."
Oh wow!
And they're in. Yeah. So she picks them up. I don't know where does she pick them up?
It's in New Jersey.
New York?
It's in New York. Yeah.
So she picks them up in. Yeah. No, sorry. So she asks them to fly to New Jersey. And then she says, "Right, I'm going to put bags on your head so you don't know where we're going." It's like they know they're in New Jersey at this point. So I think it's aware that they brought camping gear to New Jersey. I'm sure they know where they're going.
Speaking of New Jersey, when they do start traveling, so two things here. When they start traveling, they end up at the gas station / convenience store, which I loved. Yep. I love that bit in these old horror films, which I'll get to in a minute. But this whole film, I expected it to be, I shouldn't have assumed it again, down the south with the Southern Hicks, the classic Southern Hicks. No, they just go to the forests in New Jersey, which is about on the latitude of Philadelphia. That's not that south.
Yeah, it's nowhere south.
That south at all.
But that's what's interesting, because I can add whatever his name is. They're very much playing the Southern Hick.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
So much. They're very Southern, and yet, I mean, even some of the area where the mum's cabin is, I was like, okay, this is clearly not New Jersey. This is obviously it's made to look very Southern, as if it's somewhere down in Texas. But I must admit, it's when they got to the gas station, that's when I started realizing I was watching Deliverance. Because outside the gas station, you have the kid that's sitting there playing the guitar thing. And I was like, there's the dueling banjos again.
Yep.
I'm like, it's almost a shot for shot right now of Deliverance. And I was like, I'm still going to watch it because, we agreed to, to review this film.
We have to do it.
We have to do it. But
I love the convenience store because it was the classic.
It was kind of funny, wasn't it?
The old crazy guy that's like, don't go down that road. That's the evil road. And they're like, no, shut up, old man. We're young, cool. We can do what we want.
Yeah. I felt really bad for this dude because he gets kind of pissed at these girls. But you can understand why, because, they destroyed it. They came in with these enormous bags on their head, knocked all this crap down. And, like, his store's a wreck. And then she's like, oh, sorry, and leave. And I'd be like, if I was him, like, no, you get back here and you clean this up.
I'd be like, you go down that road. You go down that road.
That road I told you not to go down? Yeah, you go down there. You go meet that family. Go on, off you go.
But it was the same sort of crazy gas station like you get in Texas Chainsaw. The old,
of course.
Wrong Turn. Even like in Pet Cemetery, he's not the gas station, but he's the old guy that talks like this, eh?
Oh, the old guy.
Don't go
Yeah,
down
yeah.
that road. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, there's
bad
evil
down
down
there.
that
Ah.
road. Don't go down that road.
see that sign that says Evil Road? Yeah, don't go down that. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I love that guy. And
see,
I love when so they leave the convenience store, they carry on driving, and they drive past a sign of where they're at. Deep
Yeah.
Barrens. What was it? Deep Barrens Wilderness
Deep
Area.
Barrens. Yeah.
Proceed at own risk, it says.
really?
That's what it says beneath Deep Barrens, yeah.
Oh, see. You picked up more on these things. I think at this point in time,
I wrote
I was-
so much down.
you did. Yeah, I think at this point in time, I was like, can we get? Because obviously at this, I don't know how long into. We're probably about half an hour into this film at this point in time. So we're deep in the film at this point in time, and not gonna lie, not much has happened since. You're pretty much just
No.
following the three girls on the camping trip, and even when they, obviously after they destroy this poor bloke's convenience store, they start camping, and
Yeah.
you're literally just watching them camping. They go fishing, they jump in the lake, they tell stories, they prank each other, which I thought was fantastic. They had a little
Oh,
prank where she comes out with a knife in her back.
Yeah, those pranks.
And I was like, oh, no, it's a prank. Never mind. Ignore that. But again, by this time, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, this film's going to ramp up here suddenly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of it was, I think if you cut down a lot of this, it'd make it so much quicker.
You could, like you say, you could cut it back to an hour.
Oh, easily.
Easily.
Interesting enough, it's actually, apparently it was unknown. So the guy that played Ike,
Yep.
it says the role of Ike was erroneously credited to actor Frederick Coffin. However, actors from the production confirmed it was actually a guy called Gary Pollard.
Okay.
And so I was kind of like, okay. So it's kind of like, who actually played Ike? It's not actually known. I mean, Frederick is credited with him, but it's not. Apparently, actors from the show said it wasn't actually him. It was someone else.
That's weird.
Do they not actually know who it was? Huh. Oh. They also credit them as different names.
Really?
So the guy called Michael McCleary, who apparently played Adley, was credited as Billy Ray McQuaid.
Yeah.
The guy that played Ike was credited as Holden Maguire.
Holden
They
McGroin.
credited- Yeah, they credited loads of people differently. Oh my god, they even remade it.
Yeah, it's been remade.
Bloody hell!
Yep.
Who was in that?
I mean,
No. Oh, Frank
Does-
Grillo. Okay. Deborah Ann Wool. Okay, she was in it too. All right.
well, we can do that for next Mother's Day.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. God, that crew was. God, they had loads of people in that one. There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 8 people in this film.
In Mother's
It's
Day.
tiny. Yeah, there's only 8 credited people in this film. You've got the 3 girls,
Yep.
the mother, the 2
Yep.
brothers, and then you
Yep.
have a guy called Ernie and Dobber, the guy who's humiliated or publicly humiliated.
Dobber is my next note.
Ah, there we go.
The
Dobber,
Dobster.
yeah. The Dobster.
So,
Ah.
so we the girls they've arrived at the camping. They're camping now.
Oh yeah.
We kind of get they kind of get the that you get the flashback to try and prove that our protagonist Jackie is strong because of what she did with
Yes.
her ex.
Yeah, because apparently a lot of the guys she dated in college she was treated a bit like a doormat. She
Yeah.
let them kind of come in. I mean, we saw it with the boyfriend in the apartment. Where
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
oh, I wish I could go outside, but art is so hard, and I'm just going to sit here and sniff cocaine.
Sniff
Oh,
coke,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
out of stolen
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean, she even watches him take the money. I'd be
Yeah,
like, put that back.
she
That's mine.
does.
You're not snorting. And then he shoves it down his pants. I'm like, I would not snort off that now. If
That's
I was
where
you.
that's where I put my cocaine snorter.
It's like, dude, come on now. I mean, that's kind of when you see that, you're like, okay, she clearly, you can see why she's treated like a doormat if she doesn't, stick up for herself a bit. But yes, back to the flashback.
Oh, me, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I am the one with the notes, aren't I?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, so
right.
there's a slight flashback. It's not really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that important to the film.
Not really,
Again,
no.
you could cut this. You could cut this scene.
Yeah.
It's just a flashback to the three girls again, but Jackie meeting up with her new boyfriend, what's his name? Brad Dobbs, also likes to be known as the Dobber. Not a nickname. Don't understand why that would be a nickname. It means nothing. And they're at a baseball pitch. It looks like a minor leagues baseball pitch, and they're gonna sneakily go onto the middle base. I don't know what it's called, the pitcher's base.
They're gonna try to get to third base on the middle base.
Oh, very good.
Of a baseball thing.
Very good. Very good. She has like, wait right here, just set up. He instantly gets naked.
Oh,
because he's very presumptuous, very presumptuous. And while this is happening, they turn on the lights, they get on the PA system and start fucking around with him, embarrassing him. But there's no one else around, so I don't really get the. I mean, he tries to run away. He falls over, tries to run away, and that's it.
It's one of those. It's one of those weird. It's one of those daft scenes that you're like, okay, it's a couple of college girls having a bit of fun at this dude who's clearly a bit of a deadbeat. But yeah, it's again, like I said, it's the middle of the night. There's no one there.
No.
And I think if you heard them talking about the fact that your naked ass is running through the softball pitch, you kind of be like, oh, it's okay. It's just a prank. I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna walk off, or at least get dressed before you.
Yeah.
Because doesn't he leave half his clothes on the pitch and just runs out? I'm like, mate, you're gonna be running around the streets butt naked. It's like you're gonna get stopped, but the Dobster clearly doesn't care that much.
Yeah, pretty much the Dobster. Makes me think of Dobby from.
Dobby,
well, actually,
free!
I didn't even think. Actually, no, that's two. Makes me think of Dobby from Harry Potter and Dobby from Peep Show. Yeah, the Dobster.
God, the Dobster.
But I think the important bit we have to take away, but we don't really want to, from the flashback is it shows how close they are by their little gesture to each other. The Rat Pack, just they do like a triple fist bump, is it, or like they hold each other's hands?
They hold like each other's
triangle.
arms and things, don't they?
Yeah, and that's their thing. They're the Rat Pack. There's three of them. Shows they're strong together.
I thought that was interesting because the flashback shows that they're being strong together. It's like, oh yeah, we're bonded. We're. I don't know if they're part of a. It's not fraternity, is it? What's the?
No, it's after college.
It's the I'm talking about like American colleges. They have like
it could be a fraternity thing. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if the female version is something called something different. But it's interesting that because they're like, we're going to be always strong together.
Yeah,
and literally one of the dialogue straight after this, I think it's from who is it? Who's the? Ooh, I can't remember her name. It's not Nancy. It's
who's that?
Is it Trini? Oh, it's Trini. The actress.
Trina, the blonde tall one,
She sits there and they're lying around. She goes, I'm actually getting bored of this. And she states that the camping trip, she's like, we only meet up. Why do we only have to meet up once a year?
Yeah.
And for her, it sounds like she's kind of like, as much as I love you, it's like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I'm getting a bit bored of this.
Yeah, she starts to emerge as the main protagonist. Really.
Yeah, she's kind of, I've got an interesting, I think we got the same note. It comes in later that I thought was either, again, they got the characters mistake, or they gave it looks like they gave the wrong script to the wrong actress. And I don't know if you notice it. We'll come into it later because that's something that's a bit down the line. But again, you've got Nancy and Jackie are like, nah, you'll be fine. You'll love it. And you could just tell she's sitting there going, I'm in the middle of New Jersey in a woods and, I don't really want to be here. But at this point in time, now this is one of those things where this is when, again, this is kind of like the midway mark.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
about
for the
halfway
film,
through.
halfway through it. And as I just realised, is there's actually 3 moments, like you said in this film, where there's extreme. He goes to the extreme violence. You've got the start, You've actually got the bit maybe around the hour with the scenes with Jackie and the two brothers and the mother, and then of course you got it later on. But it's at this point in time that the two brothers come out the woods. You know, they're kind of in the background. They're watching them while they're, you know, they're.
I would say that's a good jump scare.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you kind of knew it was going to come because you see POV shots of them stalking the girls throughout their time in the woods, but it was a good jump scare. I
thought it was good. I think the way that he rushed out and he pounced on, I don't know who it was, pounced on one of the girls. I thought, oh, okay, here we go. But it's kind of immediately ruined because he's not quiet. He lunges on her and she starts making a noise.
Yeah.
And the next shot is you see him, you know, trying to obviously, you know, I don't know, restrain her or tie her up. And the other two girls are just casually sitting there.
Yeah.
While this is going on.
Wild.
And it's like,
I couldn't believe that.
Okay. It's like they didn't mean to shoot them in the shot. And they're just casually observing this going on. And you're like, was this a wide shot that they forgot to cut out? Because it looks like they just told the actors, like, okay, you're right, she's going to get pounced on, and they forgot to tell them what to do, and they're just sitting there going, okay, cool. And then even when the other girl is, like, the other brother pounces on one of the other girls, again, the third one's just sitting there, and it's like, oh, I haven't been told what to do anything, so I'll just sit here. I don't know.
You're in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, and even if one person came out, you would be shitting yourself. Like, what the hell's going on?
You'd be legging it.
The fact these two random guys one's masked up, one's got some sort of weird face covering on.
Adley's got like a weird mask thing on, like a Mad Max type thing.
They're quite fast, they're quite aggressive, and they're not really expressing any emotion, especially because the brothers tie them. They put them in their sleeping bags and they tie them up in their sleeping bags and start dragging them off. While they're being tied up in their sleeping bags, they're still like,
they just don't make any noise.
What's going on? What is this? What's going
could
on?
You let us out? Oh no!
Is this a joke? Are you playing a joke on me? What's going?
If I was in the middle of the woods and I got tied up in a sleeping bag by some unknown person, I would be trying to chew my way out of my sleeping bag.
Yeah, it was.
But again, this is a B movie, so it's not going to have the A-list cast probably. But even still, you would think that. I mean, I reckon again, they were told just make the damn film. You got to make the film, make it as quickly as you can.
Yeah, we got a week to do this.
Yeah, and they were like, okay, look, we've got 2 hours of night left. We've got it. Just move on. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. So they're dragged all the way back to this shithole of a house where the boys and mother live.
Now,
yeah.
I'm going to throw in some trivia for you because this is an interesting trivia that I found. I've been researching whilst we've been discussing this. I didn't know about. So the house in the film is an actual house. They didn't build it. It's a real house in the woods of Newton, New Jersey. And no one had actually lived there for 15 years prior to them making the film. And the reason for that is the previous owner who had owned that home 15 years ago had actually been murdered in that house. So no one lived there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just before they started, just before they went to film it, they found a dead body in the house. So already they're like, cool, this house is messed up. We'll still use it though. But yeah, so this was just an abandoned house that they found.
They used a real murder house for a murder house.
They used a real murder house for a murder house. It's like, that is just
That's pretty baller. That's pretty baller.
But yeah, there you go. Interesting bit of trivia. I'm looking at the trivia now. It's interesting what is in this.
Well, there's also some. They actually used some locations, I think, from the original Friday the 13th.
They did. Some shots and locations very nearby.
Yeah. But yeah, this house is a shithole. This house is.
Wait.
He's got one.
Literally, before as we were discussing the poster, I said it looks like Whistler's Mother.
Yeah.
It's because it's a parody of the painting known as Whistler's Mother.
Is it actually meant to? I didn't know that.
It's actually a parody. No way.
I'm having a look now. I'm having a look live, looking Whistler's
That's amazing.
Mother.
I didn't know that. I thought it was literally just.
That's exactly it. Without the brothers.
Yeah, without the brothers. Not Mrs. Mother.
Fantastic.
No way. It's actually a parody. Oh, Troma, well done. Oh. Oh, that's
great.
incredible.
That's brilliant.
Anyway.
Anyway, yeah, back to the shit of the house.
I'll let you talk now.
So this house is just full of graffiti everywhere. There's just shit everywhere. There's broken TVs. There's broken everything's
Toys
broken
everywhere. Yeah.
It's just a shithole. And they're brought up into their it's like a top room filled with gym equipment, but I doubt they use it because when we get to a bit later where they have exercise time, they use other stuff for exercise time. So this gym equipment is literally for tying people up. And they tie them up, apart from Jackie, who they take downstairs outside. And they bring Mother out, sit her down, and they start performing with Jackie in front of Mother. Because Mother, she's credited as Mother. She doesn't have a name.
No.
So, and Mother starts going to the boys, I want you to do this. I want you to do this one. Do this one. I can't remember the names of the scenes that she does.
They do one where it's in a park bench and she's reading.
Yeah, you're going to read this. Sit down and read this.
Yeah, something weird. And then she does another one where, let me have a look.
So they're forcing Jackie to act out these random scenes.
Yeah. She's like the weird, I guess, civilian in this. These are these aren't exercises. These are just improv sessions that they're doing.
Yeah, kind of improv. Yeah,
and it's a weird scene, and I actually thought it was quite interesting because up to this point, you're kind of just watching a load of fluff. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But this is when you first, especially when the mother comes out, this is when you're like, okay, these people are slightly weird. They're actually a bit odd.
Slightly weird, yeah.
This scene is a bit creepy to watch. You're like, okay, are they about to like play out a murder scenario or what? And then it takes this massive. This is where the second account of extreme violence takes place.
Extreme sexual assault. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's rough, and it's what's worse is the fact that it's Ike it's Adley that rapes Jackie.
Yeah.
Ike photographs him doing it.
Yeah.
Whilst the mother is just sitting there going, "Well done, son."
Mother's like, "Go get the Kodak. Go get the Kodak."
Oh yeah. God. And you're just watching this, and you're like, "Oh my god!" This is when you realize that the brothers and the mother are just out of their minds.
Yeah.
They are cracked. And
yeah. I mean,
it's a weird, serious moment in what technically at this point has been slightly humor, like a black comedy, a dark comedy,
kind of.
Slight humorous, and then you have this scene. You're like, oh, that's not funny. That's actually pretty damn dark.
I think what made going into this film, this sort of B-movie exploitation film, I unfortunately expected, obviously, there would be some horrific sexual assaults in the film, because I knew it was kind of a rape revenge style film, like I Spit on Your Grave, and I kind of expected that. But what I didn't expect was the preamble of the improv. Let's do a scene quickly.
Yeah.
We're going to force you to do a scene in front of Mother, and then I'm going to attack you. I was kind of just
weird.
I was waiting for. That sounds really weird. I was waiting for the horrific assault. But it was weird. It was even more horrific, the fact that when is this going to happen? Because there's this really horrific preamble of this improv acting you're trying to do, and then suddenly you're attacking her. It was so weird. It was weirder than just attacking her. It's a really hard thing to describe like that. But yeah, I've never seen a film do that where the villain. They just, can you just do this scene for us, and then we're going to attack you.
Yeah, it's props to the writer. Like you said, we've never seen that before, and I wonder if for that idea to come from it's like, because if you think about it, in most, I don't know, I don't want to say southern horror, not southern, like hillbilly horror. Well, okay, like the stereotype hillbilly horror. Yeah, a lot of the time go with.
They don't wait around.
They don't. They capture them.
Yeah.
They might torture them a bit, and then they kill them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be fair, they're kind of doing this with this girl. They're fine. She at this point in time, she's pleading with them to let her go.
Yeah.
And the mother's just like, no, you're not going. And the thing is, she's not tied down. She could easily just try and run, but she never does.
Yeah.
And in a way, they're psychologically torturing her because they're like, oh, we just want you to act out this scene. And she's like, if I do this, will I let you go? They never respond to it. And then it's literally like, okay, we're bored now. Let's just get on with this. And then,
Yeah, I think it's the like you just said, the boredom. Like, oh, we tried to have some fun. Fuck it. Let's get on with what we plan to do anyway.
The two brothers at this point, they're brothers, but they are slightly at odds with one another.
Yeah.
And I think it's Ike's like, well, she's mine. Because he doesn't like Trina. He does not like her. No. So I think before they take Jackie downstairs, I think Trina like knees him in the nuts or something. And he's very much, you're next, you're mine. And so Adley's like, okay, right, if you get her, this one's mine. So they're divvying it up. But throughout the film, the two of them are slightly at odds with one another.
It's a very bizarre mindset of the two, of the family. Whereas some films, they'll be like, oh, get those city slickers. We don't want those sort of kind around here. Get those... those fancy girls, get them, have your way with them, get rid of them. We don't want them down in our area.
Yeah.
They don't really have an agenda.
Not really. It's unclear what their agenda is.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's why, I know. It's hard to describe this film because
it is.
The plot is these three girls go camping, they get caught by some of the natives, bad shit happens, they escape.
Yeah, very simple.
Or they try to escape. It's a simple plot, but when you're watching this film, you're kind of like, okay, I think that's what's happening, but it's not being done very well.
Yeah.
It's being done very sloppily, in a way.
Yeah.
I think most of the time, at this point in time, the girls aren't really the main focus here. It's mainly the relationship between the two brothers and the mother.
Yeah.
Because the mother's like... there's a great throwback. The mother's like, I'm your mother, I'm an old lady, which triggers poor Nancy to remember her mother. And she's like, oh my God, I hate this woman because she's reminding me of my own mother. And a lot of it is the two brothers that are like, oh, well, I'm the better killer. I'm the older brother. And it's like, well, you're not. I'm the better killer. Mother loves me best. And it kind of focuses on the two of them. There's a great scene where they're arguing about what's better, punk or disco. It's like, punk sucks or disco's stupid. It goes on for like 2 minutes. You're like, I get it. Punk sucks and disco's stupid. Okay, cool. Nice to know, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I think this part of the film was very... It starts getting very muddled because I think a lot of the mistakes happen in this film, in this bit right now. So
do we see what they do with Jackie after the assault?
Yes. We do. Well,
I know where she's found, but do we see?
No, that's it.
No, this left a mystery till the next morning.
Yeah. So so it cuts to the next morning. I think at this point in time, Trina's managed to hoof this massive piece of gym, which are I lift some of these things at work. They are heavy.
What's it called? It's like an arm.
Oh, she's on the pec fly.
The what? Sorry.
The pec fly. So it does your it's like kind of like a chest press, but it does like your I don't know what it does. I just know I lift the stuff. So she manages to lift this thing, which they're not light, over to the wall to cut her restraints.
There's like a nail sticking out on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
two
brothers come in. The two brothers come in the morning, and they look at them and they're like, okay, well, we had some fun with your friend last night.
Yeah.
And they don't twig the fact that when they left her, she was in a completely different position, and she's now moved the entire gym thing to the wall. And they're like, "Yeah, cool. So it's breakfast time. Bye," and they leave.
No, they untie them.
Oh, they do, don't they?
They untie them and say, and then Mum's like, "It's exercise time," and they leave.
Yeah,
and they
leave.
They've untied them.
Just untie them. It's and that's the thing. It's this is why I don't think they read the script, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, at this point in time, obviously, not Nancy. I can't remember her name.
So you got Trina and Abby. Trina's the blonde woman. Abby is the smaller with glasses.
Yeah, so is Jackie. That was it. So at this point in time, they've had to hear what's happened to Jackie outside. So they're like,
Yeah.
okay, bad. Our friend's being
This
traumatized,
really annoyed me.
and they've untied these two, and they're like, okay, we have to escape.
Oh, this
And it's
really
like,
annoyed
cool.
me so much.
I know you were going to pick up on this.
It's annoyed me so
And-
much.
They're like, okay, cool. How do we escape? And it's like, I know. I'll lower you out the window in a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
It's like, why in a sleeping bag? Just lower the rope down and hold the rope, and she can climb down.
Oh,
You
there's
literally
even
put her in a
there's even more of a bigger. Why did you not just do this? When
Is that why did you not just go through the door?
the door that's open that you so right, hang on, right. Let's so while they are discussing escaping, the brothers are having exercise time.
Yeah.
And it's somewhat of a montage. So they're doing push-ups. They've got like a makeshift punching bag. They've got
Slash the pinata, whatever
like
it is.
it looks like a sash bag, like a sandbag, and they've got like a machete there. They're training and whatnot. And Mother's very proud. Mother's very happy. Now, while this is happening, they then start to have a fight. They then start to have a tussle, don't they? They're like,
Yeah.
like a little wrestling. They start to wrestle and argue, and Mother's like, "Oh, my boys,
Oh, boys.
oh my boys." Now, as this is happening, our friends, your friends, everyone's friends, Trina and Abby are trying to escape, like you said, in the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
I think it's Abby who's lowering Trina, the blonde, in a sleeping bag out the window,
Yeah.
and her hand is getting cut up by the rope.
Oh
burn.
yeah, it's messed up. I mean, it almost goes when you look at the cuts. You're like,
horrible.
you have a hand left.
Now, as Trina is lowered outside the window,
Oh yeah.
she then runs back in the house, up the stairs, through the open door, back to Abby, so they're back in the same room with each other. What?
I found the way out. It's like
What?
the door was unlocked.
So you're back in the same room you were just in. What was the point of lowering her down? That annoyed me so much.
I know. The other thing is that it's just before she's lowered onto the floor. Bearing in mind, however, that she's been put in a sleeping bag with the drawstrings now pulled up.
Yeah.
So she's in the sleeping bag. Abby has to hold her.
Oh yeah,
whilst
yeah.
Adley is underneath her, and she's holding a full-grown woman.
Yeah.
In with it by a rope as it's slowly slicing through her hands, and I was like, "You would have dropped her long ago."
Yeah.
Because unless you
Or the rope would have
I
gone.
don't know, yeah, unless you're like the Rock, and you're holding someone who's very light. Abby in this film is not. I mean, these are not built ladies. They're quite.
No,
they're quite
quite
slim
petite.
ladies.
Yeah.
You would have dropped her ages ago if she's struggling to hold her. Trini would have gone right out the window as quick as anything.
Yeah, and this is for a good 10 seconds as Adley is just
Yeah.
slowly. He can't see the sleeping bag above him. He's slowly walking, just creeping around because he's looking for his brother because they're still
And then he
hustling
chooses
and fighting.
that spot to just be like, okay, stand here.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, that was a
right
bit
under the
comical.
spot they need to go.
Yeah, that was a bit
cool.
comical. But the whole thing of Trina running back in the house, upstairs through the door that they were originally locked in.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they didn't lock it when the boys walked back out for exercising. It felt like such like a naked gun joke.
Yeah, it was very
It was so
slapstick.
stupid.
It's like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was. It's Key and Peele. That was it.
Oh yeah.
So Key and Peele did this great sketch where I think it's Jordan Peele. He's a prisoner, and he's talking to his prison guard, and the prison guard isn't that clever. Kind of like the two brothers in this film.
Okay.
And the prisoner looks at this guy and goes, "Oh," he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, so what are you in here?" He goes, "Oh, I didn't actually do the crime. It wasn't me." And the guy goes, "Oh, so you shouldn't be here." Okay. And he opens the cell and just lets him out. And that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It's like you've just untied your prisoners. Your mum said it's exercise time. You're like, okay, cool. It's like, now don't go anywhere. Wink. And leave the room. You're like, this feels like they did it because they were like, okay, we need these girls to escape. I know. Let's untie them. And then after that, they're like, okay, what's the reason for untying them? Yes, move on to the next scene. It's like, I don't know why they would untie them, but we filmed it, so just move on.
No, that, as we're discussing it, it's actually just got me thinking. I can't think of what horror film it is, but there is a horror film, I believe with a slasher, probably well known, where the victim is let go, some door is open, let go, it's like you can go, and then suddenly it's grabbed again. It's like, no, a sort of no, just joking, haha, you're back. I can't for the life of me think what it is, but I'm hoping it might come to me in a bit. But
it's not Leslie Vernon, because that was a parody horror film. That's a great horror film.
It'll come to me a bit, but it's that sort of thing. They kind of, I guess it could have been a tease. The brothers, they could have escaped, and then the brothers go, "Roar!" But they didn't actually know what they were doing.
It's this weird thing where they let them go keeps on going after this point in time.
It does, yeah.
And so the two girls are now, for some reason, I mean, I don't know why they didn't try the door in the first place, but they
go. Try it.
They were clearly doing this because they're like, we need to add some tension into this film. We don't know how. Just do this. And so they leave the room and they go into the brothers' room.
Yes.
And Trina opens the cupboard and finds the dead boyfriend from the very start of the film.
Yeah. Well,
his head. The girl's gone. Well, yeah, they find his head.
His head is in a budgie's cage.
Oh, it is, yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no. This is one, let's be honest, this is one tough cookie. She's not fazed by a lot.
No.
Which really bugged me when we get to not too far off this. And
I think I know what you mean.
Abby comes in, and Abby is a wreck at this point. Her hands are ripped to pieces. She's, she wants out.
Her hands on the verge of a mental breakdown. Wrecked.
And they find Jackie.
Yeah.
In the boys have stuffed her in a drawer. She's still alive, but she's beaten. She's a broken mess.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, right, let's get her out of here. Let's get her out of the house.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, it feels like they didn't know what they were doing with the film, and it shows quite badly. Oh, that was it. During the exercise, we're introduced to the concept of Queenie.
Yes. I fucking love this concept of Queenie. Because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I saw Queenie. And the boy's like, but she's dead, Ma. Like, no, she's not. And, Queenie is apparently the mother's deformed sister who had lost her ear.
They actually start to build up lore behind this character.
It's pretty pretty sad backstory as far as things go. It's like, the deformed sister was slightly insane, eats rats, roaming around a forest. Like, the dad cut the ear off to distinguish between the two sisters. Was that
Queenie is mother's sister, or is. The boy's gran, so I guess mother's not mum, apparently shot Queenie and cut off her ear to... Yeah, this is what they say, and I note it down. The boy's gran apparently shot Queenie and cut off her ear to prove it, and the boys still have Queenie's ear to prove. Somehow keeping an ear proves that someone is dead.
Because I thought you said Queenie was the boy's gran, and I was like, wait,
no, that was mother's sister.
Yeah, and I was like, that's getting into real incest hick territory there. But yeah, they build up this story, and then that's it. Mother freaks out, says, "Can I go?" And then she's, "Can I go back in the house?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." And at this point in time, the three ladies have fallen down the stairs. They're trying to get Jackie out the house. Jackie's non-responsive at this point, and they escape into the woods. They're gone. They're like, "Right, let's go." Ike and Adley know they're gone. They see they're gone. Like, oh my god, the girls have gone.
Yep.
And the mother goes, "Yeah, what's your point?" She goes, "Yeah, and just let them go." It's like,
what?
What? You just let your potential victims who could get the police back here, and she's like, "I don't care. Queenie's out there. I don't care. We're going to stay here."
Queenie's more important right now.
Yeah, I need to tell you about Queenie. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those moments. I'm like, no, your priority should be chasing these people. But it's like, no. We're going to build up this backstory. It's all right. And yeah, this is a bit that really bugged me in this film. And
another one.
Yeah. Well, it's annoying because it's a massive. It's like the Michael Myers in Halloween Kills. where
Okay.
we were both watching it and we went, "That is not Michael Myers,"
Yeah.
because
Yep,
of the
yep,
stuff
yep.
he did. He posed as victims, and we were like, "I'm sorry, but who? No." And so the girls are escaping, and they realize that Jackie can't move. So Jackie she's
Yeah, she's in a bad state in the
She's
woods when they get
yeah.
to a safe spot.
they get her. She's very bad, and they say, "Look, we can't keep carrying. If we keep carrying her, we're going to get caught." So Nancy, no, Abby. There's no
You've got to
Nancy, I
stop
don't know.
saying Nancy.
Nancy. Sorry, Nancy is the actress's name. It's
Yeah.
Abby. So Abby stays with Jackie, and Trin is like, "I'm going to go find help."
Yeah.
And she goes off to find out, and it's not clear what time of day it is because it goes from like morning to night to evening to whatever.
It goes to night really quickly.
Yeah, like kind of like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
breakfast when they escape, and then all of a sudden it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think the brothers would allow you to be gone for that long.
I
They
hadn't
would
even
chase after
clocked
you.
that. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
breakfast. You're right.
Yeah, because
Oh
when
my god.
Trin is then trying to she finds their car, and the engine's like been destroyed, so she
They've
can't
completely
drive.
destroyed the engine.
And at this point in time, she's going backwards, and she runs into a police officer. And it's now nighttime, so unless they parked friggin' miles away, so she comes across the police officer like, "Oh yeah, thank you," and it turns out it's Ike,
It's Ike dressed up.
who's gone out to look for them by dressing up as a police officer. And there's a little short chase where she's chasing him through the woods, and she escapes him by doing the little rock to the middle of nowhere, and he runs off.
Well, the thing with that rock scene, that went on for far too long. Like
It really did. It was.
and the chase. I'll be honest, the chase in general went on for far. You could
Yeah.
we briefly just talked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre last episode, right?
Yeah.
With my favorite film, and the chase scene with Leatherface and Sally. It's a long chase, but it's an intense chase.
Yes.
This is not an
Yeah.
intense chase.
No.
Ike isn't sprinting. Ike is just leisurely
He's having a casual
running
jog.
behind her. When Trina is hiding, yeah, like you said, she sees this rock to, the idea is to throw
Oh.
to the side so that Ike will
Yeah.
see it and then go after that. But I think it's like 7 cuts of going back and forth between her nearly getting the rock, then nearly
it
getting the rock,
was.
then nearly getting the rock.
She's she's like stuck in some brambles or something.
Yeah, yeah. It takes ages to grab this rock.
Yeah.
And then when she does throw it, he launches himself
Oh yeah.
at wherever this sound is through the bushes, and it ends up being this really steep hill that he rolls down. And
Yeah, he
falls
falls down.
It
Oh
just,
yeah.
for such a simple chase, it went on for a
just
long
dragged on.
time. It did drag
Yeah.
on, yeah.
And oh my god, yeah. I remember now. I just remember how bad it was.
Now-
But doesn't she get her foot stuck in a bear trap? Or am I thinking of a different film?
There is
I
a
might be
bear
thinking of a
trap.
different film.
No, there is a bear trap, but I can't
does she-
remember if she gets stuck in it or not. I don't think she does.
No, I don't think she does.
There's a little trap that earlier on, Adley. Is it earlier on? Is it right now? He mentions that a raccoon got stuck in it, and there's a little raccoon's leg in this little bear. It's a tiny little bear trap,
That's
and he said, "Oh, the raccoon must have gnawed off its leg." Would it
Yeah,
have done that? Would it
I
have
can't
done
remember
that?
why. I can't remember why. I swear she tripped, or she just missed the bear trap, or something like that.
Yeah. Now, I also
But-
wanted to point out just
Yeah.
quickly that we're led to believe, because Jackie's the first woman we properly meet, and
Jackie's-
normally,
yeah,
normally, that's kind of when you're introduced like that. There's your protagonist. There's your final girl.
Here we go.
She isn't.
No, she's not.
She's not. And to be fair, we are focused on her more. We get her flashback with the Dobster.
Yeah. She's
She-
very built up to be the main
Yeah.
character.
She's not. She's not. She's the main victim of this film,
Yeah,
but she's not the final girl.
no. Which of course leads us into this next bit where
Yeah.
Trina finds her way back to Abby. Nearly said Nancy again. To Abby and Jackie, and we find that Jackie has died. She's come
Yeah.
to her wounds, and Abby is just sitting there. Goes, oh yeah. She's like, Jackie died, and this is the bit that this is where it bugged me a bit, because this
Yeah.
is where I feel like they got the character, they gave the wrong script to the wrong character, the wrong actress,
Yeah.
because Trina then cries, and she's like, you know what, fuck it all, And she's like, you know what? Let's just sit here. Let's see if Captain. She gives up.
Yeah, they swap,
Abby-
don't they? They kind of do a role reverse.
Abby's like, no, let's go this. And Abby's like, come on, let's do this. Yeah,
We're gonna get these
Rambo.
fuckers.
Yeah, we're gonna go kill him. And I was watching it. I'm like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a massive 360.
Oh,
180,
completely.
sorry. And it was so jarring because throughout the rest of this film, Trina is just like, oh, I don't care. So I give up. And Abby's the one who's like, no, we're going to go Rambo on these
Yeah,
dudes'
I was
asses.
just
We're
thinking
gonna
Rambo. Yeah.
guerrilla style warfare here. Let's do
Yeah.
this. And they do. They put like the bandanas around
Yep.
their heads. They tool up. They're like, let's go back and let's fuck them up.
I was thinking, where the hell did they get an axe from? But they're camping, so they
Yeah.
may have had it for
Well,
chopping
yeah.
wood. They had an antenna, a car. Like, I think it was a car
Yeah.
antenna.
Oh, that's the car antenna, wasn't it? They could use it as a whip or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so jarring, and I was like, "No, you." Anyway, moving on because otherwise I'm gonna get stuck in a loop going around this weird bit.
Well, after they've Ramboed up, they venture back to the house, and they're on point. Like they're focused. They're not distraught that their best friend is is left in the woods dead. They are
they leave her in a
focused
sleeping bag.
on dealing with these guys and their
Yeah.
mother. And while they're focused, while they're at the house, they're scouting it out. The mother and the two boys, they're in their basement, and they're just talking. They're just arguing, talking.
Oh, this is the punk sucks disco.
Yeah,
crap.
yeah, it's a pointless conversation. And Adley goes back upstairs to the kitchen. I can't remember what for. I don't think it's anything in particular. And can you remember why he leaves the basement? I don't think it's
Yes,
anything
yes. It's
Was it something-
because. So, yes, it's because Ike chased the girls and Ike failed. So mother says,
Yes.
"Right, you're staying here with me, and I'm going to send Adley."
That's it. So that's why he
get
goes
them.
up. Yeah,
That's
okay.
why he goes. Yes.
So he goes up, and when he gets to the kitchen,
Oh,
the girls are at the kitchen door for a surprise
this
attack.
bit was like, this bit was good.
Now, was it the antenna first? I think it was. So I think Abby
I believe so. I believe
gets
Abby distracts
behind
him.
him. No,
Yeah.
Abby gets behind him and stabs the antenna through his neck. Is that not what happens? And then I believe it was Trina who then gets the axe right in his crutch.
Yes, that is it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's it. She claw hammers his nuts.
Straight up into his nuts.
Oh,
and
God.
but the thing is they then leave him. They don't try and restrain him for a second. They leave him. He falls back onto a table. He's grabbing oh my God.
Yeah.
My balls. And the beautiful red poster paint blood is just gushing out.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Great.
I love that old B movie blood. It's so shit, but it's so good because you could do so much of it, and it will just still look rubbish, but it will look great at the same time. And yeah, he's not doing too well. And then they start to gag him and suffocate him.
Yeah.
That's quite a way. That's quite a way to go.
That
But
is
not-
quite a ways to go.
As bad as the way
Not as bad
Ike
as Ike.
goes.
Ike suffers. Fair play to him. He takes a beating before he succumbs.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, the girls, for some reason, they drag Adley's body outside. I don't know why. And
I didn't get that.
no, I think it's done just to set up a bit more tension. Because at this point in time, Ike does like a ninja style jump through the
I
second
love the
story
camera
window.
shot. The camera
Oh,
shot
yes.
of that is like a not reverse, but I don't know why I say reverse bird's eye. It's a sky shot looking directly
Sky shot,
up,
yeah.
and he just
He launches
Superman's it,
himself
Superman's it over the camera. Oh,
Oh! And so he comes out and he lands down and he starts attacking him. And obviously he lands on the floor and he's like, "Oh, my brother's dead." It's like, okay.
he
So
nearly
obviously, of
knocks
course, he
Trina
then-
out.
Yeah, he properly thumps her.
Really thumps her.
And at this point in time, they're now back in their house. And this is when the girls they go truly guerrilla
Oh
warfare
no
on
no
this
no
dude.
no! One you
Yeah.
missed one thing. When
did
they're
I?
outside, so he's Supermaned out the house. He knocks Trina out as he lands on them. Abby
Yeah.
manages to run away while Ike has noticed that his brother is dead. He starts getting upset on the,
Oh
on the ground.
yes, yeah.
While Abby has run away, she's gone to the shed, picked up some Drano, which is basically acid,
Yeah, pretty
run
much.
back, grabbed his head and poured it down Ike's throat. And he
Yeah,
starts
that's
to
right.
foam at the mouth as acid starts going down him.
Yeah. He's like it's like Cujo.
Then they go into the house. So that's step one of his death.
Oh god. Then
As they get into the house, someone is waiting for him.
Mess him up. Yeah. So they get back into the house at this point in time. I'm just trying to get my brain straight because this is all happening very fast.
It really is.
Between Jackie dying and then Ramboing the crap out of his family. And so they go back inside, and it's at this point in time where so Ike is fixated on Trina. He's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Abby, on the other hand, does this incredible thing where she waits till Ike goes past her.
And then the camera pans up.
It just pans up, and she just dunks this old CRT TV straight down on his head. Like, not even through the screen, through the bottom.
It's a big one as well.
It is. It's a massive TV. And he just stands there getting electrocuted. It's like a scene from the Addams Family with Uncle Fester. It's like...
It's so goofy. It's so goofy.
They got all these lights going. He's
now,
oh, Christ,
was the TV on when she did it? I don't think it was on.
No, I think it was off.
Right. So if it was off and unplugged, maybe by the time he's moving around, it'll be unplugged. There's no power in it.
I know.
So there wouldn't be any electrical shots. He'd just have head trauma. So they have all these little sparklers going off.
Yeah, they do. The thing is, this scene is mentioned in the goof section because when she dunks it on his head, you can see there's nothing inside it.
There isn't anything.
It's an empty prop. I mean, of course it would be, but they don't even attempt to make it look like there's anything inside this. It's literally a piece of breakable wood with like a clear screen across the front. Not even glass. It's just plastic.
It breaks over his head so easily. Like obviously in the underside there was probably a maybe like, I don't know, a broken part that they put back together that would break easily when it went over his head. There's a stunt prop.
Yeah.
But if that would have been solid plastic, even a couple of mil thick, that wouldn't have just snapped over his head. It would have bounced off his head.
Oh yeah, quite easily. But I mean, you got to give it to Ike. He's still alive at this point in time.
Also,
so,
I hate to keep interrupting you.
That's all right.
CRT we'll get used to it. CRT TVs, especially that size, are fucking heavy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, nothing to discourage the women. They ramp it up. They're strong. They're tough women. Yeah. But not even. I don't think I could hold a TV like that above my head for that long period and then force it on someone's head.
What have you ever taken apart like an old the old PCs, the big thick ones?
There's the contents of the world inside them.
Yeah, I took one apart years ago. We had like an old PC, and then I was like, I'm going to take this apart. I want to see what's inside it. And if you take off the frame of a lot of these old like CRTs and things, it's a solid, heavy piece of glass and mechanics. And I mean, I tried lifting this thing, and it weighs a ton. I mean, these TVs are heavy.
They really are.
And again, like I said, no disrespect to the women in this film, but even a bloke, if he was holding the strong bloke holding this thing above his head, would start wobbling.
Yeah.
Because these things, they got friggin' heavy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this film clearly does away with, things like that anyway. It doesn't obey the laws of the world.
That's part 2 of
Ike's
death.
is that part 2?
Of Ike's death.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Of Ike's death.
So Ike at this point in time is internally dissolving from the Drano acid. His brain is probably more fried than usual from the TV set. And even at this point, he falls to the floor at this point, and he's not dead. He's smoking away. And Trina's like, you know what? Oh no, doesn't he attack Trina? Because she grabs the... She goes for the... he's still.
They think he's actually dead. He's on the floor, and he grabs her
like
leg.
The death fake out, isn't it? And he grabs her leg, and she's. I don't know what Abby's doing at this point in time. She's just clearly observing again. It's like, Trina, you've got this, and that's why I think there wasn't a lot of direction in this film, because sometimes where she just, I don't know, she's nowhere. She's like, I've done my job. I've slammed this dude with the TV. I'm gonna take off and grab a cup of tea, and so I grabs Trina by the leg, and I think he trips her up or something, and she's doing this same long shot again where she's trying to reach something
like
out
the
of
rock.
shot.
Yeah,
like
like
the
the
Rock.
rock. Yeah.
And she grabs hold of this massive, like, electrical
It's like
carving knife.
yeah, it's an electrical carving knife. Yeah.
And she goes to town on him. She stabs the crap out of him.
Which you don't
I
see.
don't know where. No, you don't see it. I think you get the POV shot. She's doing it to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it's implied that he dies. I mean, you
Well,
probably would
yes.
after having a carving knife stabbed into you. And
well,
I mean, yeah, God. I mean,
well, after
fair play.
swallowing
Drano,
Drano, having a TV put on your head, being stabbed with an electrical carving knife, that will do it.
and Supermaning outside of a 2-story window. The bloke's on the level of Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers type strength. The man is pretty
guy.
tough.
Yeah.
And so after this, the brothers are dead, and the two girls, Abby's reappeared at this point in time.
Yeah.
They're like, right, let's go find the mother.
Yeah.
And they find her downstairs where she's just casually watching TV. I think she can hear that the sons are dying upstairs.
No,
Is she not?
No, Abby. As I was just saying, when Trina's dealing with Ike, where was Abby? Abby went off to find Mother.
Oh, yes, that's
Abby
right.
Abby got to the basement before Mother got back down there. Mother got a knife from somewhere.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Abby
yeah,
got down to the
yeah.
basement, and as we briefly mentioned earlier, when they were camping in the woods, they were playing pranks on each other. Now, one of the pranks, I think it was Jackie, she had a fake knife that she could attach to her back, and she came out
Yes.
screaming like, "Ah!"
Yeah, that's
Abby,
right.
obviously, when they were packing to come do their revenge, Abby had packed this. She comes running out the basement onto the bed that Mother was originally on with a knife in her back. And Mother's like,
Yes.
well done, boys. You got her. Well done, my boys.
That's it. Yes, I remember
And
now.
she tricks Mother. And that's how Trina then comes down. They capture Mother. And
Yeah,
it goes on for quite a bit of... I can't remember what Mother says. She's like, I'm a sick woman. I'm a sick elderly woman. Please don't hurt me. I'm a sick
this is the
woman.
flashback. This is what triggers...
Abby.
It triggers Abby, and she
loses
thought... I
it.
mean, Trina, you thought she killed in a
Yeah.
pretty horrish way, but I've got to give props to Abby. This is probably one of the funniest ways I've ever seen someone
It's
kill
so
someone.
bizarre what Abby picks up to suffocate Mother.
Yeah. So Abby's, internally traumatizing from I'm a sick woman, so, she's got flashbacks of her mother who screams at her.
Yeah.
And she picks up this pair of massive inflatable knockers. And
Breasts,
she's like, cool.
breasts, you might say.
Breast. Yes. Titties. Boobs. And she's like,
Bojangles.
okay. And she's like, okay, Mum, it's time to die. And she just suffocates her with this massive pair of boobs.
And they're see-through. And it's only boobs. It's not like an inflatable body. It's like a pillow. It's like an inflatable pillow of just transparent breasts. It's so obscure. And she just suffocates Mother with them.
And it's the POV shot.
Yeah. It's
You get
just...
this. You get...
Yeah. It's just absolutely bizarre. It's so bizarre.
So good. You just see her suffocate.
After everything they've gone through, with like they use an axe on Adley's crotch. They use Drano and a knife on Ike. Brutal. No, we're gonna pick up these breasts and suffocate you.
What's the lady's name? Oh, what's her name? The actress's name? I'll have to look it up quickly. Beatrice Pons. I mean, fair play to this woman. I mean,
She took it like a champ.
When she read this script and she saw how she was gonna die, she thought, "Oh well, I gotta act the crap out of this," and she does. I mean, we've got the POV shot where she's suffocating under this pair of massive boobs. She's just sitting there going, "Oh."
It's the way I want to go.
I know, it'd be an amazing way to go out. And you just can't help but watch it, and you're like, she looks like, I mean, no, she's acting to suffocate.
Yeah.
But even in the back of her mind, she thought, I never thought I'd be doing this on camera.
I mean, it's probably the only film in horror history where there's a death light used with those.
Yeah,
as a
I'm
weapon?
gonna do some research for the next episode. I'm gonna find films that have done this because there must be something else that's done it.
Good luck.
I know.
Because I think that's very, as shitty and obscure as it is. That's
Yep.
you.
There might
you
be
can't
some-
say
I
it's
mean,
not unique.
No,
It's very
there might
unique.
be some 18 rated parody films that may have done something like that, but we're not going to review those because we'll get probably booted off Spotify.
Now,
Oh,
so they're dealt with. The family
Yes, the
is dealt
family's-
with. Now we come to my favorite part of the film:
yeah.
the ending.
Oh God.
I absolutely love the ending to this film
I was the other way. I was kind of
because
like,
I
oh,
did
really?
not
Is
expect
that-
this.
No, it was unexpected, but at the same time, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Is that what we? Yeah, all right, fine. It's the end of the film. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah, so they after Ramboing up the house, they go back to
Jackie.
where Jackie is. They make they bury her practically.
I did
Not
think that
really
was
sure.
interesting. They
how.
buried her there. I'd be like, just take her with you.
Yeah, evidence.
Yeah.
You bring
It's like,
police
no,
back
this-
to this house. They killed
Bury.
her. You can,
Let's hide the evidence. We were never here.
because I mean, how do they go back to normal civilization without her and say what happened to
Yeah.
Jackie? How do they do that? So as they prepare to leave the woods, they prepare to leave this horrific
Yeah.
day or two, they are attacked. They are attacked. Yeah, attacked by Queenie, who completely leaps out of the woods. In looks like some vermin
like a
monstrosity witch-looking
Like a-
thing.
Yeah.
It's completely out of the blue. I was shocked. I was genuinely not shocked as in a jump scare. I was like, I
Oh.
did not see that coming.
No.
I was pleasantly surprised. And then the film cuts. That's it.
Yeah, it does that typical like last scene freeze frame.
Yeah.
And all you
Yeah.
get to see is this Queenie doing like this sort of like a gremlin type jump thing.
Yeah, like
Onto
hands in the air, clawing, ready to
Oh.
jump onto them. And
God, it was good.
it's just so bizarre that this film is such a simple concept. Hicks in the woods with their crazy mother. They idolize their mother. They do everything they can for their mother. Young girls
Yeah.
go camping. They kidnap them. They torture them. They assault them. Blah blah blah. It's been done to death. But there's this subplot of Queenie,
Yeah.
and it's such a sub minor plot, but it actually pays off. I don't know. It kind of pays off by seeing Queenie. If there was
It's
no
like
Queenie and they just left, it would be like, why the fuck was she talking about this woman called Queenie?
Yeah.
There was
It's like
point-
a
it was
subtle
pointless.
hint that something else was coming. I mean, to be fair, when they let the girls go and they're like, "Oh no, Queenie's out there," I was like, "Oh, the girls have to fend off from Queenie as well." Well, obviously, I don't know, they might have done if there was ever a sequel, but it's like a typical 1980s horror thing where you're like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, survivors, and it's like, oh no, something else is coming their way. Which happened in this thing.
You think you escaped? Oh no.
Oh no! That was the thing. I noticed this at I think whoever directed this. Did you notice it? It's at the Hollywood party at the start of the film. They really had a thing for Stanley Kubrick. Did you notice that?
Go on.
No. So there's a guy in the party. He's talking to someone, and I can't remember what he's talking about, but he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, Stanley Kubrick said this. Did you know that?" And he keeps trying to talk to him about something that Stanley Kubrick did, and people ignore him. But it's just weird. He keeps walking around this party going, "Yeah, well, Stanley Kubrick, did you know he said this?" And I was like, "Okay, we get it, Stanley Kubrick." It's one of those weird dialogues that you're like,
Might have been a big
just-
fan of Kubrick as a director.
Yeah.
And just wanted to get him in
they
there.
just
somehow.
wanted something in there about Stanley Kubrick, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Okay, yeah, cool. I don't know why that's in there, but let's move on."
Do you know what? This film, it's not scary.
It's really. I mean, if
It's
this was
not
released today, it would probably be a PG. Well, maybe not PG, maybe a 12A.
Listeners, I'm looking at him with big open eyes
it's
when
not
he
a
says
PG, it's a 12A.
rape revenge film would be a PG.
Sorry, I got my
12A.
12A maybe.
You
Which
probably
like
not even that.
Jaws. Not maybe not. Maybe
Yeah,
a
but
12.
there's,
Probably a
there's
12.
not
All right,
torture
it'd be
and
a
rape in that.
Yeah, okay, maybe a 15. It
But-
wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a. I mean, compared to today's standards of films, it would not hold up.
It'd be a drama thriller. It wouldn't be classified as a
Yeah.
horror. It's not scary. There's the odd jump scare, like I mentioned. Well, I found like a jump
But
scare.
even then, they're a bit goofy.
They are goofy. Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
goofy. Kind of cartoonish in a way.
Yeah,
A little bit
it's
cartoonish.
the brothers kind of reminded me of like a slightly more not psychotic, not really psychotic. They're just more simple.
Very simple.
It kind of reminded me of Laurel and Hardy. Like they're always bouncing off each
Yeah.
other, and they always get into fights with each other. And there's like the punks dead, disco's not. Even when they're just cramming down like insane amounts of sugar-filled cereal, they're just like, "Well, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you." Oh.
I don't normally like to do this, but I have got the Wikipedia article up, and I'm sure you have as well.
Yes.
And I'm just reading the critical responses that a lot of reviewers gave
yeah.
to it, and some of them are fantastic, especially Roger Ebert, who is probably one of the most famous movie reviewers ever, giving it 0 stars. And he hated Friday the 13th as well, Roger Ebert.
He did, yeah.
He wasn't the biggest horror fan, to be fair, but
No.
which doesn't bode well for if you're trying to be one of the biggest film critics ever. You need to be partial.
Yeah.
And yeah, he discussed it with the violence score, rape, torturing, all of that jazz. And there's another critical response which I just noticed here, and it's my favorite. Oh, where was it? But here it is. So Detroit Free Press, Jack Matthews, the journalist,
Yeah.
says, how much space should a newspaper devote to a review of films such as Mother's Day, a repulsively graphic and vile story about a pair of special needs backwoods brothers who drag young women home to rape and bat around for the pleasure of their demented sadistic mother, as little as possible.
Yeah.
And I assume he probably just ended the review there.
That was probably it. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting because this is, I mean, it was done on a very small budget. I mean, this film had,
incredibly
I
small.
mean, how much was the Evil Dead budget? I mean, it was not much more than, it was less than this, wasn't it? Evil Dead budget was, no, it was more. So the Evil Dead had a bit more budget. It had about 260,000 more money.
Yeah.
Not much more, but obviously that was that was a groundbreaking horror film. This one, not so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I was watching it, I was viewing it as it was a student film.
Oh,
It felt very much like a student film.
It
or
really
like
feels like a student film.
the actors themselves, like was like, we're going to make this film. It's our first attempt at filmmaking. We've got 115,000. We've got 7 days to shoot it. And if we have to just move on to the next scene. And that's why a lot of these scenes felt very rushed, because you're watching it, you're like, you could have done that much better.
Yeah.
But especially the bit where like the girls were in the sleeping bags and they're getting dragged. There's not much.
It's lazy.
It's lazy
filmmaking.
And it kind of feels like that was the last shot of the day, and they were like, you know what? It's like friggin' 2 a.m.
Yeah.
We've got to be back here at like in 5 hours time. It's done. We've got it. Fine.
It's interesting as well that this came around the time where I believe around the time with Mary Whitehouse, who was pretty much the pusher of banning all these films, like including Texas Chainsaw, Evil Dead. This film got completely rejected by the BBFC on its release. And it didn't even get released in England at all. It was it got shown on TV at times, but didn't even get released. So that's why you watch it on YouTube. It's quite hard to find this film. You found it on Shudder, right?
Yes, it's on Shudder. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a better quality than the one I saw on YouTube, which gives even more credence to you saying it looks like a student film, because it looks like a student film when it's the quality on YouTube.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Like I don't even know if you'd be able to find a physical copy of this.
Probably not.
Why not have a look? Hang on, you Phil. I'm looking.
You're gonna have a look. Well, interesting. I'm looking at the goofs on IMDb because I do like my goose.
Oh yeah.
And one of the goose that I had was actually, because I was talking about the sleeping bags.
Yeah.
It's an error in continuity. So when the girls are put into the sleeping bags, obviously they're wearing their nightgowns. You know, one of them's, you know, they're all wearing their pajamas.
Yeah.
And they're put in the sleeping bags in their pajamas. When they're brought to the house, which at this point in time, it's the same night.
Yep.
They come out of the sleeping bags and they're fully clothed. They're wearing all their day clothes, and it's like along the way, one of them was like, "I'm sorry, if you're taking us to see your mother, please let us get dressed."
We have to
And
dress
it's
up
kind of
the
like
mother.
it's kind of like the brothers were like, "Oh, you got a good point, all right? We'll let you out. You can get dressed, then you got to get back in the sleeping bag." And you can tell that they filmed the scene where they brought them to the house first, and then potentially filmed the scene where they're kidnapped afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it's such a break in continuity. You're like, okay, one of these was filmed. You filmed this in the wrong way. He's found one. I'm looking at his face. He looks like he's found one. He's
Sorry,
very happy with himself
found
right now,
one.
aren't you?
I found Mother's Day on Blu-ray for $80.
Oh, that no,
$80. This film is not worth $8.
no, it's really not. But that. There you go. That's probably why. Probably why it's worth £80.
No, wait, no, sorry, you can get it cheaper than that. You get it on DVD for $40, half price.
Thing is, that's one of those films. It's like, oh, what's the most obscure film in your collection? It's like, I have Mother's Day on Blu-ray. It's like, oh, what's that? He goes, it's a really odd horror film.
No, see, here we go. This is better. You can buy Slumber Party Massacre for $20 on Blu-ray. Much rather do that.
Oh, that's such a good film. I absolutely love that film.
We will need to do that soon because we mentioned that a couple episodes ago, and it's so good. It's so good, Slumber Party Massacre. But
it really is.
Have you got anything else more to say on Mother's Day? A film that isn't about Mother's Day?
Yeah, I think. I mean, to be fair, Troma are known for doing parodies, and I think it's fairly safe to say this is a parody of. It's a parody of Deliverance. It's pretty much they probably saw. I mean, when did Deliverance come out? Let's have a look. I think it was 1970 something. Deliverance, 1972. So it came out 8 years earlier.
And I spit on your grave.
Yeah, that was definitely late 70s. I want to say 79. I think it was 79.
I spit on your grave.
Oh,
is 78.
So you said you found this on YouTube.
Yes.
So in 2012, Troma actually officially released lots of their films on YouTube. So you can probably watch a lot of their YouTube channel was terminated, but you can potentially find a lot of the Troma stuff on YouTube. That might be why.
That was the quickest sad story ever.
Like
you can find Troma on YouTube. They're not there anymore.
Well, no, their channel's gone. But if they release them to YouTube, their films are probably still there. Which there you go. But Troma are known for doing parodies and things, and this is very much someone watched Deliverance and went, "I'm going to do that, just not as good."
So there you go, folks. Toxic Avenger is on YouTube. You can go. Yes, all these films are on YouTube.
Watch it because it's one of the iconic Troma films. I mean, to a degree. To a degree. I mean, obviously, it's very misleading. It's got nothing to do with Mother's Day. The poster's misleading. I mean, the poster itself is a parody of another thing.
Yep.
The mum's the mum's dead at the end because she gets suffocated by a giant pair of knockers. In a very funny way, let's be honest. I didn't hate this film. I mean, I wouldn't watch it again unless I was very drunk. And I thought, you know what? I mean, I think we should do that. I think what we should do is we should find the weirdest films ever and get absolutely hammered.
It'll probably be Troma films.
It'll be probably Troma films, and we'll just record us as we're drunk out of our minds.
I agree. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was just an hour and a half of I don't want to say of daftness. I wasn't going to say easy watching of daft.
Yeah.
You want to be.
It's a great example of how you can pad out a film with filler. Let's be honest, because a lot of this you did not need.
A quick hour and a half B movie exploitation slapstick goofy film. You can do no worse than Mother's Day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the history of Troma Studios, and obviously I don't know that their stuff is still on YouTube, but they released over 100 of the back catalogue films on YouTube. So many of them, they released them for free, and then apparently they terminated their channel because the channel got terminated in 2020. So actually, the films were available for like 8 years on YouTube, but then someone complained about it and they took them down.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I just searched Toxic Avenger, and it's the first result is the film. So it's that old thing of once something's on the internet, it's on the internet forever. So as soon as they uploaded it, there's probably people that downloaded them off YouTube and then re-uploaded them. So you will be able to find probably a lot of these films on YouTube just by searching. They might not be the best quality, but that kind of lends to the quality of themselves of the films. You don't want these films. I don't want to watch Mother's Day in Blu-ray high def. I want to watch it in gritty, dirty, student-looking film
on a CRT TV, which is weighs 5,000 tons.
Yeah, those really light balsa wood CRT.
Oh yeah, I know. Now, obviously, we talked about Father's Day just before, as we were looking through the Troma stuff. So Father's Day was actually potentially a response to Mother's Day as well.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, when they made it, it was actually refused classification, which in Australia, making it illegal to effectively sell or exhibit it. So that'd be interesting to see that one. Obviously, the next
Father's Day is June or July?
Father's Day is June. Then we have a holiday in between them, which is Easter.
No, sir. We have a holiday next week. This week. Which I've actually been meaning to discuss with you off camera and maybe push it in front of another film that we want to review.
Okay.
What month are we in?
Right now it's March.
Yeah. What's next?
April.
What's the first
April Fool's Day.
The horror film April Fool's Day.
Oh my God. April Fool's Day. Oh. Wait, I didn't even know there's a film called April. Is this an actual April?
I am for realsies. It is a great. Well, I've partially seen it. I barely remember it. I've partially seen it, but
oh my God, this looks amazing.
Shall we?
Oh yeah, we have to do this.
It would fit in for next week.
It would. Oh, we have to do this.
I think we should.
It's a black comedy mystery slasher film. That sounds amazing.
I think.
No. Whoops.
So
I didn't see anything.
So are we saying on next week's episode you can come back to some April Fool's shenanigans?
Let's do April Fool's shenanigans, yeah, because I need to. Obviously, after that we've got Easter, so we're going to review the Easter Bunny horror film.
Are we going to do X?
Yes. Well, I know you're seeing that tomorrow, aren't you? See, now my evening tomorrow has become free, so I probably have to go see it as well. Because I
potentially see it tomorrow, but it'll be out for another. Yeah, we're not that big, so if we don't do a new release on release day, it's okay. It should
be okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's the fact that I know you said you were potentially going to see it, and I was like, oh, I've got an evening free. I might go see it.
But I think we should do X because it is a new release. But
I don't actually know anything about this, so this will be quite interesting. I think April Fools will be the good one.
I think so. So we're saying next week we'll come back with some April Fools.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try and find a copy of this.
Perfect. Well, that was Mother's Day.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
A nice obscure 80s thing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. It was just great fun.
Yeah, it was lovely. It's fun.
So, where are you found normally these days?
You can find me everywhere. Maybe not so much on Twitch as I've realized in the last few days. I have not been on Twitch in flipping ages.
I haven't got the time.
I am on Twitch, but I just have not streamed. I just have not had the time to stream. So, but you can find me on YouTube, where you can find episodes of the Dreadcast at Tainted Souls. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tainted Souls as well. Do check me out there. I'm sure I'll return to Twitch one day, but it's not going to be this week. One day I'll return when I have time. But obviously, right now I have too many other things going on,
including this podcast.
Including this podcast, which I might have its own YouTube channel soon. But we'll keep that quiet. It's got its own Instagram now. So
it has.
It does. Yeah.
That's my. That's when I sneak off to the toilet and at work when I don't want to work, and I'm just like, let me update the Instagram.
I wondered why they're always at a certain time of the day. I'm like,
they're really not timed well,
isn't it?
So yes, you can find myself. I am on Twitch as well, but like T here, I've been neglected it a bit because life is busy. So on Twitch and YouTube at Gaming Grindhouse, and on Twitter at Tom Grindhouse, all one word. And you can find this podcast on Instagram at _Dreadcast.
Yep.
And you can find the podcast itself on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube, and Amazon/Audible, all by searching The Dreadcast.
Exactly.
I think that about does it for all the other socials.
I think that's all of our socials done. We've covered this film in glorious Dreadcast style.
And we decided on the next episode within the last 10 minutes. Perfect.
Yeah, it's all pretty good. Nice.
So let's go watch April Fools.
Sounds good.
We need to come up with a witty,
I
snappy
know.
ending.
Oh,
Oh, ooh, boo, spooky.